The average time spent on social media in 2012 was 90 minutes. Fast forward 10 years later, and you just have to look at yourself and ask, how much time do I spend on it? Today in LitePsych, we're going to talk about social media, what it does to our mental health, how it connects us, and so much more. We all know what social media is, but we can't exactly give a specific definition for it. And researchers all over the world have had the same difficulty because social media is ever evolving. What was once just Friendster is now multiple channels across different devices. But what we do know are three key characteristics of social media. Number one is that it's on the internet. Number two, it's social in nature. And number three, it's mass personal, meaning that an individual can talk to a lot of people all at the same time. Just like any form of development, social media is believed to have some effects on our psychology and mental state. And in order to understand how it does that, you have to break it down into its elements. First element we'll be talking about is your profile. Your profile displays your personal information in a public space. This includes your photos, the posts that you write, the things that you share, and even your status of being online or not. The amount of information that you choose to put on your profile is completely up to you, and you even have the ability to limit who can see what on your profile. The way you construct your profile is your opportunity to manipulate how people may perceive you. Lying on your profile is actually very easy, and often in online dating, this is something that happens a lot when you put hobbies, interests, or even quotes of people that you don't necessarily follow or believe in. However, this is balanced when you present information to a wider audience, when you post it on your wall, for example, because there will be your friends and your acquaintances who will be there to verify and validate whatever it is that you're talking about. Much like real life, our need for self-validation is also present, even in the online space. Hence why some people deceive others in the things that they post or the things that they share on their social media pages. The challenge in building our profiles is the need to be authentic and the need to be accepted. I'm sure at some point you've hesitated or flat out not shared some things for fear of what will my friends think of me or what will my parents think of me if I share this meme. Being more authentic online can potentially garner you more online support, but it's not for everyone. This reward is more apparent for high esteemed individuals who present themselves authentically online. The second element we're going to talk about are your networks. And these are your followers and your friends and your connections on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and all of that. Your networks allow you to have an easier time to communicate with these people and gives direct access to information and stories that they too share themselves. And it shows that you have an association with these people on your network. Our online connections and online networks typically mirror the networks and friendships and relationships that we have in real life. Social media just becomes a way to maintain these social connections, which paves way for us to build our social capital. Meaning, if you have a lot of connections, then you also have a lot of resources, whether that be in emotional support or their intelligence or their general life experiences that they can share with you. Through social media, you're also able to maintain our connections with weak ties. I'm sure not everyone on our friends list or followers list are people that we're particularly invested in or that we describe as people that we're close to. Despite this, we form networks with these people because in the same way that our actual friends are resources in our networks, these weak ties are also resources in the information they can get from them, potentially the emotional support that they can get from them. And for others, they simply serve as an inspiration or a motivation for whatever activities you have planned out in your life. Although you do receive social support online, sometimes this can backfire. It makes you question of what can I post exactly that my father will be okay with, that my best friend will be okay with. And sometimes they're different. And while there are filters to control who sees what, imagine doing that for every post. It just doesn't make sense. Measuring or feeling social support in social media can also feel quite empty. What are the value of likes when you're going through something? And I know we come across comments that say, just keep going, I'm rooting for you. And while they may have good intentions, sometimes it can feel like they're just packaged comments and they don't really mean much. Another interesting thing is that we also have different expectations depending on the platform that we share on. So you might have high expectations for your close friends on your Instagram as to you posting a general I feel sad on your Facebook wall. And whether or not those expectations are met can contribute to you feeling the support in social media or not. The next element is the stream, and this is your timeline where you see everything. And this is where most of the studies, or at least most of our general ideas about social media and psychology, interact. And that's because in the stream, we are prone to social comparisons. Having constant access to everyone's profiles, achievements, life milestones, and all of that constantly shows us what people are doing in their lives and makes us very critical of ours. We often focus on the negative comparisons and are often left feeling envious about other people's lives. Compared to face-to-face interactions, there is a more objective evaluation of other people's lives because of the likes, comments, shares, and even the kinds of reactions that people get on their posts. Seeing the numbers can really make you feel bad or worse when your likes and shares and comments aren't of the same quantity or even quality as those of other people. Social comparison is more likely to happen when the target is someone who is in a similar standing to you but you're not very close to. Someone who works in the same department, for example, but you barely interact, or that classmate in that one class who sits on the other side of the classroom that you don't really pay attention to. Social comparison happens significantly less with people you know because you know the details of their lives and can justify certain things about the posts that they share on their walls. You would know, for example, that that trip they saved for that for 5 years, so they thoroughly deserve that. You don't have that same benefit for your colleague in the workplace and your classmate in that one class. It's also found that our envy is heightened or is triggered more by good experiences as opposed to material purchases. So when we see people in their travel videos or their travel vlogs, that hurts us just a little bit more than if we see people buying a new PlayStation or a new computer setup. However, it's not all negative. Seeing people in their streams and their achievements, for some, can actually serve as inspiration and motivation to do better. The last element of social media is messaging, and this hasn't been considered part of social media just because it's a one-to-one thing. Yet, messaging allows and reinforces our use of social media anyway. Connecting with our friends in our social networks enforces our need to belong and to relate to others. And what makes messaging online different from face-to-face interactions is the permanence of messaging in social media apps. We have this concept of being permanently online and being permanently connected. Messaging now means that you have a direct line to basically everyone in your social networks. The connectedness offered is also enhanced by the idea that everyone can be on call and you can even tell if they've read your message or not. The moment that you're distressed, you can message your best friend SOS and they have the ability to respond to you and help you. And at the same time, if they don't reply, or worse, they leave you unseen, this can make you feel a little bit out of place and feel like you don't belong. Research has found that the lack of a response is just as impactful and just as degrading as a face-to-face exclusion. A key challenge in messaging in social media is that it can become quite an addiction in anticipating responses and checking if they've seen it already. The urge to constantly check can affect many everyday activities of yours, like driving or studying, or even working. It also becomes a way for you to be displaced or excluded when you're in an opportunity to make a social connection face to face, physically, in real life. With everything we've talked about, we can confidently say that social media will continue to be a part of our life. Our hope is that with the elements that we've talked about, we've made you more aware of how this may affect you, how you think of yourself, and how you relate to others. Comment below your favorite element of social media and tell us why. Follow us at LitePsych on Instagram and subscribe so you never miss out on the latest psychology in simple terminology. Again, this is Jim. See you next time.